If you're watching this, don't scroll past. It might sound insane, but I swear every word I'm about to tell you is true. People think UFO stories are just late-night campfire nonsense or blurry photos from drunk hunters. I thought the same until it happened to me. My name is Daniel Hart. I'm 34, born and raised in northern Idaho, where nights stretch out long and black and the stars look close enough to touch. I never thought much about UFOs, aliens, any of that. I was just a mechanic, fixing trucks, paying bills, living a quiet life after my divorce. But what started as an ordinary night drive turned into the moment I realized I wasn't alone on this planet. It was late September, cool enough that you could see your breath on the windshield. I'd been working late at the shop, covered in grease, exhausted, and I just wanted to get home. My cabin sat about 15 miles out of town, tucked in the woods near Priest Lake. The road was empty, just trees and silence. No streetlights, no houses, just the hum of my old Chevy. That's when I noticed the sky wasn't right. At first, I thought it was just a plane flying low, a strange bright glow cutting through the tree-line. But planes don't hover. This light hung still, too perfect, like it was watching me. I told myself I was tired, seeing things, but then it moved. Fast. 1 second it was over the lake, the next it was right above the road, maybe 100 feet ahead of me. The light was blinding, like staring into a welding torch, but silent. No engine, no blades, nothing. My chest tightened. I slowed down, gripping the wheel, telling myself, it's a helicopter. It has to be. Except I've lived here my whole life. No helicopter moves like that. Then my radio went dead. Not just static. The entire dash flickered, headlights dimmed, engine coughing like it wanted to stall. I pulled over, heart hammering, sweat running down my back despite the cold. The light shifted again, slowly this time, like it was choosing whether to come closer. That was the first moment I felt it. Not just fear, but the bone-deep knowledge that something out there knew exactly where I was. I grabbed my phone, but it was useless. Black screen, dead battery, though I charged it fully an hour before. I stepped out of the truck, and that's when I realized how silent everything had become. No crickets, no wind, nothing. Just the buzz of the light above me. It started descending, smooth, effortless, and I swear I could feel a pressure in the air, like static crawling over my skin. I should have run, but my legs wouldn't move. The glow wrapped the trees, turning night into day, and for a split second, I saw the outline of something impossible, metallic, curved, like no aircraft I'd ever seen, but alive in some way. The ground beneath me trembled. My ears rang, and then the light hit me directly. I remember heat, a vibration through my bones, and then nothing, black. When I opened my eyes again, I wasn't on the road anymore. When I came to, the first thing I noticed was the air. It was sharp, sterile, and carried no scent of earth, no gasoline, no pine needles, nothing familiar. My back pressed against something smooth and cold, and when I tried to move, I realized I couldn't. Not because I was tied down. There were no straps, no chains, but because my body refused to answer me, like every muscle had been unplugged. My eyes darted around, the only part of me that seemed to work. I wasn't in my truck. I wasn't even on the ground. The walls around me shimmered with a metallic glow, shifting faintly like liquid mercury. The ceiling arched high, glowing with a pale blue light that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. I felt weightless, like my body was suspended in air, though I could sense some invisible force holding me in place. A low hum vibrated through the chamber, steady, mechanical but alive, like the sound of a giant engine buried underwater. Then I saw them, at first just shadows moving across the edge of my vision, taller than any man, their silhouettes sharp and wrong. When one stepped closer, my chest tightened so hard I thought I'd suffocate. Its head was too large, elongated, smooth gray skin reflecting the blue light. Huge black eyes, glossy and depthless, stared into mine with a patience that was unbearable. No mouth moved, no words were spoken, yet I felt something pressing against my mind. An intrusion, a probing. My thoughts weren't private anymore. I wanted to scream, to curse, to fight, but my jaw was frozen. The thing tilted its head, studying me the way I'd once inspected a broken carburetor. Curious, detached. Another figure moved into view, this one carrying something that looked like a tablet of shifting symbols. They didn't speak, but the symbols changed rapidly, pulsing with faint light. I couldn't understand them, but I felt a strange pressure in my skull, as if they were trying to pour meaning directly into me. Time slipped strangely in that place. I don't know if it was minutes or hours, but the chamber seemed to bend, fold, expand and contract as if I were inside something alive, not built. At one point, the wall itself rippled, opening into a window, and through it I saw Earth. Not the way we see it on TV, with bright blue oceans and fluffy clouds, but real, raw, terrifyingly close, a curved horizon against a black void. My stomach lurched. That was when I understood. I wasn't near Priest Lake anymore. I wasn't anywhere near home. The figures closed in around me. A beam of light swept across my body, and suddenly sensation returned. Not freedom, but pins and needles so intense it felt like my skin was being peeled away. I gasped, choking, and finally my throat released a sound. Not a scream, but a broken whimper. One of them leaned closer. Its hand, if you could call it that, extended, long fingers ending in tapered points. It hovered just inches from my face, and I felt warmth radiating from it, like heat off a stove. And then I heard it, not with my ears, but inside my skull. A voice, calm, toneless, but absolutely clear. "You are awake." My vision blurred with panic. They didn't want me dead. They wanted me conscious. That was so much worse. The voice inside my skull didn't stop after those first words. It unfolded, layered, more like feelings than sentences, but my brain struggled to translate them into language. "You are observed. You are chosen. You are necessary." I wanted to shout back, necessary for what? But my lips barely twitched. Their technology bypassed every defense, pressing images directly into my head. I saw flashes, endless stars, planets I couldn't name, shapes of structures that couldn't be natural, and then humanity. Our cities, our oceans, our wars, all reflected like tiny moving pictures. They weren't showing me, they were studying us, and I was just a specimen in their gallery. Then came the pain. It started in my chest, a searing pulse that shot through my ribs like lightning. My back arched, restrained by nothing yet completely held. The chamber filled with streaks of light, weaving across my body in a grid, mapping me like a living diagram. I felt my heartbeat being counted, my nerves being measured, my blood being pulled in invisible threads. Every instinct screamed that they were taking me apart, layer by layer, and I was powerless to stop them. One of the beings stepped closer with that glowing tablet. Its fingers tapped across the shifting symbols, and suddenly my vision split. Half of me was in the room, writhing in light, and the other half was somewhere else. Floating above my own body, watching myself like a dissected frog pinned to glass. The fear became unbearable, primal, the kind of terror no human words can contain. But then, in the midst of that torment, something unexpected happened. The voice shifted. It wasn't cold anymore. It carried a hint of curiosity, maybe even pity. "You resist. Few resist." The lights around me dimmed, and for a fleeting moment, I felt control return to my fingers. Just a twitch, but enough. My hand curled into a fist. They noticed. One of them leaned back as though surprised. Another raised its hand, and my body went rigid again, frozen like stone. But in that second, I realized they weren't perfect. Whatever they were doing to me, it required focus. And focus could be broken. The chamber shifted again, rippling as if it sensed my thoughts. A section of the wall dissolved, opening into a corridor that seemed to stretch into infinity, glowing veins of blue light pulsing along its surface. The beings started moving me, not by touching me, but pulling me with invisible force. I floated out of the chamber, through that endless hallway, past doorways that revealed glimpses of things I wish I could forget. Other humans, or what was left of them. Some were awake, their eyes wide with terror, mouths gagged by paralysis. Others were motionless, pale, lined with tubes of liquid light. I felt bile rise in my throat, but couldn't even turn away. That was when something deep inside me snapped. I wasn't going to end up on one of those slabs. If there was any chance at all, I had to fight even if it killed me. As we entered a larger chamber, I felt the pull weaken just slightly. The creatures were focused on adjusting strange instruments, beams of white fire flickering between them. I forced every ounce of willpower into my arm, into my hand, and suddenly my fingers twitched again, this time stronger. The paralysis cracked. I gasped, drawing in air, and for the first time since the roadside, I could move. Not fully, but enough. I dropped, crashing to the smooth floor, my legs weak but real beneath me. The beings turned, their huge black eyes widening. I don't know how, but instinct took over. I ran. I didn't know if running would help. I didn't know if my legs would carry me anywhere or if this endless corridor would just loop back into the chamber. But I had to try. The floor beneath me was slick, pulsing with light, but my feet somehow found grip. I darted past the instruments, past the shadowed forms of the other humans, not daring to look at them again. My chest burned. My lungs screamed for air I couldn't yet taste. And then I saw it. A hatch, small, almost hidden in the corner, shimmering faintly as if inviting me. I lunged toward it. The beings reacted instantly, their long limbs flailing, trying to intercept me. One reached out, and I felt the air warp, a force pressing me back. But adrenaline, pure terror, and instinct combined into something I never knew I had. I slammed my shoulder against the hatch, it opened, and I tumbled forward. Beyond was darkness, the kind of darkness you can feel in your bones, with stars bleeding faint light through a misty void. I floated, free-falling into it, twisting, spinning, but somehow the hatch grabbed my arm and pulled me through. When I hit the solid ground again, it was cold, earthy, real. I gasped, taking in ragged breaths, and realized with a mix of disbelief and terror, I was back on Earth. Somewhere, I don't know exactly where. The trees were real. The dirt under my hands smelled of pine and wet leaves. The sky was normal, or as normal as it had ever seemed to me before that night. I ran without direction, tears streaming down my face, knees scraping on branches, not caring if I got lost. All I knew was that I was alive. When I finally reached a road, a real road, headlights cutting through the darkness, I collapsed to the asphalt, shaking, unable to speak. A truck slowed. A man shouted, but I couldn't answer. Only when he leaned close did I whisper, "Call the police," something. My memory of what happened after that is fragmented. I was taken to a hospital, questioned, examined, and though the doctors chalked up my story to trauma or delirium, I knew the truth. I have no proof, nothing anyone would believe, but sometimes at night, I feel the same pull again, deep in my chest, a vibration that makes the hair on my arms stand up. Sometimes I hear it in my dreams, the calm, toneless voice reminding me I am still observed. I don't know why I was taken or why they let me go. I only know that I saw what we are not meant to see. I survived what others might never understand. And now, every time I drive late at night, staring at the dark sky above Priest Lake, I can't help but wonder, were they testing me, watching me, or will they come back for what they claim is necessary? I live with the question because the one thing they left me with, besides fear, is certainty. We are not alone. And whatever that means, it changes everything.